Alrighty. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of The Danny Show, or should I say, good evening. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Before I get started, I want to thank all the viewers. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified on all things from the show. With that further ado, let's get started. How you digging the new shirt, the Latino Heat shirt? I got it for my birthday this summer. You guys seen it already. But let's get started with some real serious business. Okay, now we opened up the show in a very interesting matter with Edge coming out and saying he is aware of the dangers of Seth Rollins' curve stomp from what he attempted in 2014, but didn't pull the trigger because he used Edge as bait to get the authority, to get John Cena to bring the authority back in 2014 after they lost because Sting, who is being treated better in AEW, let's be honest, came to WWE's aid at Survivor Series 2014. But let's get down to some real business today. Edge came out and delivered a chilling, dark, but very exciting promo talking about how he understands the dangers of the curve stomp considering that he has neck problems. However, he also started off saying that Seth has driven Edge to a very dark place and that he's not only going to beat Seth Rollins, but he's going to break Seth Rollins, and I believe he's going to do that. That's my prediction. Also, he said that his blood is now running black and that he would burn Seth down. Seth Rollins responded later on that night saying that Edge was using his promo to pull out every excuse in the book and that the old Edge is dead. However, in a very exciting plot twist, Edge channeled his earlier days in the Attitude Era with his Brood entrance. I thought Gangrel was going to come out. Christian's in AEW as the new Impact Heavyweight Champion. I hope he takes the AEW Championship off Kenny Omega, by the way. But let's get back to WWE business. I heard the Brood's music playing, which made me think Gangrel was going to show up. Of course he didn't. It was just Edge, and a Brood bath was given, except it wasn't in red, it was in black, which alluded to what Edge said earlier about his blood running black. In our opening show tonight, we started off with Rey Mysterio giving his son very, very important advice about staying humble and not getting prideful, which is very important. That is excellent stuff. And there was a moment where, honestly, I was saying, okay, Dominic, just hush and listen, man. Just hush and listen. I mean, I like Dominic Mysterio. He's going to get big. But there are times where we just have to listen to our parents. Yes, listen to your parents. It'll take you places. Pride goes before destruction, and haughty attitudes before a fall. But either way, the match was pretty interesting. Rey Mysterio took on Jey Uso, and it was a pretty epic match. Rey Mysterio attempted a 619 after a Hurricanrana-based DDT, which Sasha Banks, by the way, admitted she did on The Mandalorian when she did an interview with Sebastian on WWE The Week, which was recently, so you might want to check that out. That was interesting. But nonetheless, Rey Mysterio did a Hurricanrana DDT, went and attempted a 619 unsuccessfully. He attempted a roll-up with Dominic using the same tactics that he used a couple of Fridays ago to stick it to the Usos for what they did at Money in the Bank. Of course, referee, I believe it was Charles Robinson, he caught that. He's really experienced, and Dominic was supposed to be escorted to the back, but the distraction caused an attack, which led Jey Uso to go for a splash. 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, this YouTube WWE video today was brought to you by the number 3. That's all John Cena needs. But either way, Moving on to some more brief stuff, Kevin Owens and homeless looking bomb donkey Baron Corbin happened, and this was a rematch from last week. It didn't go far because Big E Langston came out to attack Corbin for stealing his Money in the Bank briefcase last week. You thief. You look like a homeless thief anyway, but Pat McAfee is hilarious. I gotta say, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole are like Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, the best of this generation, I have to say. Michael Cole and Pat McAfee are better than Michael Cole and Corey Graves. I'm telling you. Corey Graves would be on SmackDown throwing fits. Come on, Corey. He would even endorse Corbin stealing. I can see it right now. Well, when you're desperate, Cole, you do desperate things. And the king is trying to get back to the mountain. So Corey Graves would be very biased considering that his girlfriend or wife is on SmackDown as well as his best friend. So he was right to move to Raw. So we can have a little more fair commentating. But Pat McAfee is awesome. He's just awesome. I mean, the way he called Baron Corbin a 6'6" trash bag, I was done. I was just DONE after that. Also, in other brief news, we have Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox versus the returning Natalya and Tamina in a non-title contenders match. And of course, I'm glad to see Shotzi and Tegan Nox being used with interest. That's very important to us, because one of the greatest concerns is when a person leaves WWE NXT and comes to Raw or SmackDown, they stop being used to their best. For a moment, many people thought that the same scenario would be true when Karrion Kross went to fight Jeff Hardy and lost in his first match. But Karrion Kross evened the scores, even though we were all rooting for Jeff. But speaking of Karrion Kross, I can't wait to see Samoa Joe versus Karrion. I hope Joe wins, and I hope Joe puts Karrion Kross to sleep. Where is latex wearing Scarlett? I don't know what's going on. I hope she's not homesick or anything like that. But moving back on, getting back to the action on SmackDown, Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart thankfully are being used in a good way, and they had a great match, a pretty interesting match with the returning Natalya and Tamina Snuka. Natalya out with torn muscle injuries. Thankfully, she's back at 100%. However, after a pretty short tag team match, there was a moment where Natalya had Tegan in some kind of submission hold, and I thought Natalya was going to take her hand and just make her tap out just like that, but that didn't happen. Of course, another roll up, and of course, Shotzi and Tegan Nox win the match, putting them hopefully in line for tag team championships. I think they would make excellent tag team champions. No disrespect to Tegan Nox and Natalya. I celebrated them when they won it, but I think Tegan Nox and Shotzi will make excellent tag team champions, especially since Shotzi was a great partner to Ember Moon, who is still on NXT. However, moving on to some other interesting things, that was not the only interesting tag match we saw, as we saw Apollo Crews and his Commander Aziz go up against Rick Boogs and King Nakamura. As always, everybody loves Shinsuke's entrance ever since Rick Boogs came along, especially Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is the best. And also, Pat McAfee's dancing, having a good time. But I should follow Rick Boogs on social media more often, because he treated Apollo Crews like weights at a gym, man. I didn't realize he was that strong. I gotta start paying more attention. But nonetheless, Rick and Shinsuke teamed together for the first time. I was very concerned because of Commander Aziz with his height. Did that SOB, in the words of Pat McAfee, jump over the top rope Fun fact, Big Show used to do that when he came to WWE in 1999. So 7 foot tall people can leap over the top rope, and 7 foot tall people can dive over the top rope. Last night I watched a match between King Mabel and Diesel, SummerSlam 95, and Kevin Nash, aka Diesel, leaped over the top rope to King Mabel twice. So tall guys can leap over the ropes. And let's not forget our favorite, The Undertaker. So nonetheless, he did, but after tagging back Apollo Crews, it was Apollo Crews and Rick in action, and it turned into a very interesting finisher. Power slam, 1, 2, 3. Rick wins, and Pat McAfee, Rick, and Shinsuke celebrate again, having an amazing time. Man, I love SmackDown, and Pat McAfee just brings the positivity back. It's just awesome. Now, moving on, short note, Otis, the Olympic villain, I used to call him the evil ogre, or the Olympic evil ogre. That's just for joke because he's a bad guy. But Otis, the Olympic crusher, scores a quick victory over Montez Ford. Darn. But either way, Otis reminds me of Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story 2 when he was under the spell of Lotso. But either way, moving on, I say that a lot. I say moving on more than The Undertaker says, when you get into the business, he's one of my favorites, but it's funny how he's known for saying, when he's out of character. And, Bobby Lashley and Brock made a great match, and Brock Lesnar want to do it? Yeah, it's a little bit personal, I can't do the Undertaker voiceover unless I'm trying to get in character when he says, "You will rest in peace." But that's the best Undertaker impersonation I can do. But of course, Bianca Belair is scheduled to have a double match. Earlier today, I sent out a comment during Sasha Banks' match against Asuka at last year's SummerSlam. I said it in my review on SummerSlam, review from the past from last year. I said that Asuka was the second woman to have 2 matches in the same night, being against Asuka, and Asuka had a match against Bayley and Sasha last year. And the year before that, our favorite Becky Lynch was the first, scoring against Lacey Evans, and winning against Lacey Evans by submission at Money in the Bank 2019, and then going on to lose immediately to Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Championship. Thankfully, Bayley, before she was a heel, cashed it in. However, tonight we have a third contestant to be the first to be a woman to have 2 matches in the same night. First it was Becky, then it was Asuka, now Bianca Belair, as she defeated both Zelina Vega and Carmella in the same night. Okay, this thing with Bianca and Carmella, with all due respect, has gone on a little long enough. But nonetheless, it started off with those two trying to push each other in, like, you go. Okay, you can go first. Nope, it's like, gotcha. It's kind of like when the Brothers of Destruction reunited to face MVP and Mr. Kennedy. And MVP and Mr. Kennedy were psyching each other up. They ran to the ring, and then one of them stood outside. No, I think it was Mr. Kennedy stayed outside and left MVP to the Wolves long before the Hurt Business. But one of them got left to the Wolves. I forgot who. Nonetheless, Carmella tricked Zelina Vega into going into the ring, and of course the match was very short. There was a moment where Zelina attempted a lucha roll-up, which is a very awesome move. She attempted that and almost had the roll-up win, but wasn't to be. Bianca, who was very angry and threatened to, instead she was going to snap Vega, did so with the KOD, 1, 2, 3. Now, Carmella's turn. She tries to get in a sneak attack with her own version of the super kick. And of course, she took control only to have Bianca fight back with a very strong vertical suplex, liking unto Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. And then later on, KOD, 1, 2, 3, Sasha, watch your back. Also, I forgot for a second, there's something I forgot. I forgot when we saw that interview with Sasha and Sebastian Keys yesterday, I looked at it and there was a moment, it was almost like the whole time I forgot she was a villainous woman. And someone said something in the comments section. They said, it's so ironic because Sasha is an incredible human being in real life, but she's a villain in WWE. However, back in the days, there were villains who would put over the good guys, and the good guys were jerks. I have to paraphrase it because he called him them words that rhymed with the letter D, that started with the letter D and rhymed with stick, which I can't say. But nonetheless, Sasha is a good human being in real life. But in this situation, she's a villain, and I'm rooting for Bianca all the way. But we don't know what happens, and I don't have a prediction for that match. However, moving on, there goes that word again. That's my word, like The Undertaker, you know. We ended the night with a face-off between Roman and John Cena. And once again, John Cena totally destroyed Roman on the mic. There were no missionary references tonight. I guess that angle is finally over. But either way, John Cena totally destroyed Roman on the mic. And Roman came back, fought back with his own words. And now I'm nervous because we know if John Cena wins, he's going to break Ric Flair's record with 17 world championships, and I am in my 17th minute, ironically. So he will win his 17th championship if he beats Roman. And however, Roman raised the stakes, saying that if he lost, he was going to leave WWE, which makes me wonder how they're going to book this whole thing. Because if John Cena can't stop Roman, and unless Big E gets his briefcase back from 6'6" trash bag thief Baron Corbin, I don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't. So I can't make it predictions. This is the only show where I don't really have a full set of predictions. All I know is this is going to be an awesome, awesome weekend, and I can't wait to do reviews on SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver this Sunday. This is shaping up to be an awesome weekend. But with the plot twist happening with Roman putting an extra spin on the stakes, Roman extended his hand. John Cena shook. It was a trap, but John Cena caught it and rolled him up for a 1, 2, 3. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we want to tell you that this video today was brought to you in part by the number 3. 3 is all it takes to beat me. I just had to come up with something. But 3 is the luckiest number. However, it's going to be very exciting to watch. I cannot wait to see what happens. It's the only show where I have no predictions, except that the Almighty will probably retain. But I still like Goldberg. I just don't know if he'll be able to beat Bobby Lashley. But it's going to be interesting, nonetheless. And that's all the time I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed SmackDown. I can't wait to do reviews on SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver. This weekend is going to be awesome. So I'll see you throughout the nights. Peace and enjoy the show. And now I'm about to go watch SummerSlam. Which one was I supposed to watch today? I'm about to go watch some SummerSlam shows on Peacock. See ya. Have a good night.